Hello everyone, welcome to this week's question time. Let me sort that microphone out, there you go. Hopefully everyone can see and hear me okay and everything's coming through. I've got a nice new lighting setup. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported me so far on Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us live tonight. Tonight is question time. If you don't know what question time is, it's a chance for you to ask me any question you like about games development, Unreal Engine, whatever the hell you want to talk about. Okay, and we'll answer as many as we can in the hour or so that we're here today. So before we do get started, I do want to show you one thing that's been being developed at the moment. It's full enough to show you what's going to be happening with it. So I'm going to jump in. Before we do that though, let's explain how question time works. What you have to do is put your question into chat, and I'll try and catch as many as I can within the hour. If I do miss your question, don't worry, just put it back into chat, and I'll try and catch it again later. But as I said, I want something to show you. So let's go over to this. So I want to show you the new website design and the features of the new design. So website has been through the works quite a bit, and one of the key things I want to do with the website is to make it so that Patreon members have access to all the video content and stuff like that a lot easier, because at the moment Patreon is just like a blog. It's too hard to find stuff. You will do searching all the time looking for categories. It's very difficult, so I want to try and make it easier for people. So all you got to do is come to this website, and you can log in with your Patreon account. Just click on log in with Patreon, and it'll ask you to log in, and there you go. Once you're in, you get access to a lot of stuff. Okay, you got some news posts and link static links here. You got the blog posts over here, and you've got new Patreon videos. So these are new videos that have come out recently. Obviously, we need to go retroactive. We need to add more videos and stuff to it. That's all that's left really to do. But it's there as you so forth. And if you scroll down further, we have this live class widget. Now, I'll be doing more often a live class. Sometimes it'll be paid for, sometimes it'll be free. But this way you can find information about it, a link directly towards it. So if you do want to join and sign up to the next one, you can keep an eye on this, click the button, and sign up to any live classes that we do. So the next live class we're going to do is going to be widgets, and talk about widgets in that live course. Speaking of courses, recent courses you can see here as well, and this will be obviously updated as new ones get added. As I said, I'm going back through them bit by bit, trying to fill it all up with all the information. And there's some basic like Twitter stuff and support Patreon stuff here. But the more interesting thing is the courses itself. So let's go to the courses here. And in the courses here, I can search for anything I like. So if I want to search for like learn about maps, okay, I type in map, and it'll give me a course which involves maps, and I can learn about how maps work and in a greater context and find information there. So if I do that, I can click on this link and it'll take me to the course page. On the course page, you'll find a few things at the top here. You'll find the date it was made, so you can always find that information out. The version of Unreal that it was made in, and you can also download the project files. So if you're a gold member or higher, you can click on this link and it'll take you to a download page, like so. Still early in development, but you can download the files from here. These so far don't do anything, but they will do. Continuing on, we've got a little intro blurb here about the course, so it gives some information, some context towards what you're learning. And then you go down and you've got the videos. And on the videos, you've got them all in the playlist. And also, one thing that you're going to have in here is the new exclusive clips type content. So this is a Patreon exclusive video clips, about 4 to 5 minutes long. And they're talking about design methodologies and things like that. So here we're talking about inventory systems and talking about how we design inventory systems. What are the kind of things we have to think about? What are the steps we have to go through to design one, and things to take into account. So you'll see a lot more of these coming up over on Patreon as exclusive content for those over there. Further down, you've got some frequently asked questions. So these are questions I often get through email, Discord, other private messages from everywhere else, and I'll just put them in here so you can find out information from these things. Again, this is only available to the Patreon members, and maybe later on it will open up to everyone else, but for now it'll be Patreon only. And then finally we've got challenges. Now challenges here, I haven't got one yet for inventory courses, but we'll go to the fire team course because that one does have challenges. So the idea behind this is I want you guys to be able to test yourselves by basically what you've learned. So if you go down to the challenges, you can find, in this case, 2 challenges. Yeah, it can be up to 3 challenges. And they're little things to try and make you test yourself with the content you've learned. So in this case, for example, challenge 1, you're going to make a second weapon, which does something different, okay? And in challenge 2, you're doing a different character mesh and showing what steps are involved in that. So you're going to see more content like this coming onto the website, and because it's on a website, it allows me to organize it a lot better and do really cool, interesting things with it that you couldn't otherwise do. Besides that, regular stuff on there. You can find out about private sessions, fire team stuff, other games we'll make will come up here too, and contact information too. So check it out. Check out the website. You can look at it now if you want. And Patreon members, as I said, have access to these course pages to freely help themselves too. Okay. But anyway, so keep an eye on that. As I said, I'm slowly going through and adding all the content. It's gonna take some time, but we're definitely going to be going through that as much as we can. But hopefully it'll be a really good spot for you guys to come by and learn some stuff. Okay. I can hear my doorbell's about to ring, so what we'll do is we'll put be right back on, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, 5 seconds. Okay. Okay. No, it's not going to ring. My wife's going to get it. Cool. What Patreon tiers is available to everyone. Every Patreon has access to this. But yeah. But anyway, that's enough for the website. So more information about that will come out over time. We'll do more with it. I say because it has that time with Patreon now, I could do a lot more with it, and I can customize it however I want. So I can do some really nice, interesting things. So yeah, keep an eye on that page for future. Okay, let's take a look at Unreal and answer some questions that people have. Thank you for the £5 donation. We just said, no, it's my wife's food shopping. Okay, so first question is, hey Ryan, how can I resize a map? Follow-up questions to that. What do you mean by map? Do you mean like the data structure of a map, or do you mean like a level? Let us know what you mean. Vladislav Sorokin, I have a question. Where do I find good C++ tutorial/help for UE? The documentation most of the time is not helpful. Correct, it isn't most helpful. It depends on your level of experience with C++. I'd recommend, first of all, learning just C++ in general. So I'll recommend and use an app called SoloLearn as a good teaching tool. It's a great great free app to learn all languages, and C++ is on there too. Learn the basics of C++ first, and then have a peek at the engine, and you can hopefully see some things that you recognize. There's going to be lots of things you don't, because it has an extra layer of Unreal stuff on it. If you never touched C++ before, going into the Unreal Engine source code is going to just be mind-blowing. It's going to be difficult because you've got not just C++ stuff and syntax, but you've also got Unreal syntax merged together. So it makes things a bit more tricky. I don't know personally of C++ tutorials for Unreal to follow. I'll be making some eventually, hopefully soon, but we'll see. Other than that, I'll recommend checking out the Discord and see if anyone has any suggestions there. But first of all, if you don't know about C++, learn it normally. Benilo is asking, hey Ryan, how can I resize a map variable? Resize it? You don't need to resize a map variable. What issue are you having with your map? For a good analogy to understand what difference is between a map and an array, which is one I've used quite a few times, is imagine if you're booking tickets to go to the cinema and watch a film. An array, say they've got 10 people, okay, 10 people in an array. An array requires that everyone be in the same row together. So you've got to find a space in the cinema that's got 10 seats free. So an array can only slot in there. Okay. Whereas a map means that 10 people can turn up together, but they can sit anywhere. They all know, they all came together, they all know together, they all belong to the same thing, but they can sit anywhere they like. So a map is an unordered map. It's not ordered in a particular way. There's no such thing as map index 0 or map index 1. It's a key and a value. That's all it is. So that's the main difference between that and array. An array is an ordered list. There is such a thing as index 0, 1, 2, and 3, whereas maps don't have that. There's no such thing as resizing it. You literally just add more on top of it. It doesn't have to make extra seats. Whereas an array, for example, if you had 10 people find their seating in that cinema and you want to add another one to it, it's then got to shove everyone else up and make sure there's a space in between. That's basically how it works. Inas Dev. Is it possible to make an open world as one person in UE5? Yes. I'll do it right now. There you go. Done. Open world. You can make an open world. Yeah. The caveat to that is, can you make a good open world? And that comes down to an individual person, team, and so forth. I see a lot of individual developers go ahead and try and make an open world, and more often than not, they look like this, but they put some trees on it. An open world is still very designed. Got design, level design, layout, things like point of interest, line of sights, pathing. All these things matter in open world. So I see a lot of people say that, "Oh, we'll make an open world game," and I very often see just a big flat open plane. Maybe they've done like a bit of this, whatever, and then they've chucked some trees on it and going, "Hey, open world." That's not open world. Okay, that's a big field. So yes, you can make an open world as a single developer, but be aware that it is a lot of work, more so than just making a big field. You can make an open world, but can you make an open game design? That's very different. So be wary of that. Yeah, just be wary of that. Oh, too far. Mark Hardy. Hi Ryan, how do you make a new animation in 426 for left arm using ALS v4? I simply want to have animation for left arm to activate night vision goggles. I haven't got 426 loaded up, so I can't show. The problem with ALS v4 is because it's mostly IK movement. You can't easily apply animations to it, as far as I know. I haven't messed about with it too much. Is it worth doing? That's the question. It's probably not gonna be worth uploading a whole new thing and doing all that. But what I will say is I can imagine it being quite difficult because of all the IK stuff. It probably depends on where you insert it. I'd have to have a hard look at ALS v4 to see what it does. Ultimately, you're making an additive animation. I mean, you could just do it with just say additive animation and just apply it to that. So, for example, let's bring in something into here. Sets how do. Let's go. Add. Where is it? There's. Okay, just adding some animations to this so I can show you a way of doing it. Whether it works for ALS4, I don't know. But yeah. Can you use leg IK node on a regular mannequin? It doesn't have IK bones like the Paragon one. You can. Yeah, the thing you'll miss out on is unless you set them up yourself, is like strengths you have. But yeah. How to set up damage depending on distance for a shoot game. Interesting one. Okay, let's show you. Let's first of all make a target that will spit out a number value based on how much damage it receives. Okay. Target. And we'll come back to animation one once they're added in. Should be in by now, but do this one first, and we'll go back to the animation. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. And we'll make this thing spit out a number when it receives damage. Any damage. Print string. Print out the damage value here. Okay, so now I can't remember if this gun's set up to actually deal damage. Oh, it's the projectile, isn't it? No, just a particle. Okay. We'll just do apply damage here. Okay, so when you're doing a damage on this, okay, you need to know, well, first of all, who you're taking damage for. So damage actor will be that one. The base damage here will be a value between a range, and that range is up to you how you work it out. It's totally up to you, but you need to work out a distance between two things, the receiver and the sender. So we need to go and do right click, get owner. This is a projectile base. If you're doing a hit scan, it's very easy. There's a distance one already on it. But for projectile base one, you get owner here, and you want the other, and you want to get the location of that, and you want to get the location of the owner, and we're going to distance. Okay, so this is going to give us a value, and I want to say normalize this to a range. Normalize to range. And normalize to range, you're going to take that value in and look at where it sits between a 0 and 1 value. So I put a range minimum of 0 and a maximum range of like 1,000. Okay, so if I'm standing up further than 1,000 away, it's going to give me that much damage or whatever. Over 1,000, you go over 1. Sorry. So I put that in the base damage there. That and do it. Let's make sure the owner set up correctly. So on the rifle, when it spawns this, no, it hasn't. Owner, it's going to ask for one here. I'm going to do self, so it knows where the gun is. Okay, let's try that. So pick up the gun. So if I shoot it from here, no. Wait, not able to. Not simulate physics. That's why. False. Okay. Right. So yeah, 0.50, 08, 0.46, 0.46. But if I step further back, 1.12. Yeah. And if you want to be flipped the other way around, so the closer you are, the more damage it does. It's just simple maths, really. All it is, you take this normalized to range, you do 1 minus. Yeah. Whoa. I would make sure you absolute this. Yeah. Or clamp it, rather. Clamp. float. Actually, no, we should clamp this value. Put that in. And that's the wrong place. 1. There you go. So it's going to take that value, clamp it to 0 and 1 range, so it can't go higher than 1, and then you flip it, so 1 minus that. The closer you are, the more damage you do. 0.79, 0.77. 0.1. Yeah. The back here I wasn't doing any damage. Okay. That's probably been destroyed, that's all. Okay, next question. Oh yeah, the animation stuff. Let's take a look at it. Let's put this guy in there. And let's be possessed by him. Yeah. And that one. Okay. Oh yeah, because the damn input settings are broken. Hold on. Okay, that'll do. Won't worry about it. Yes, I should be able to. Yep, move on. Cool. All right. So let's talk about how you do an additive animation. Okay. So first of all, you want to know with additive animation is that what do you think you'll be adding on to? So this would be like an idle when you're on the hip or whatever, or iron sight. So let's do iron. No, let's do hip because that's up there. So I'm going to duplicate this, and we'll do add, and then we'll do night vision because that's what you said about night vision. Okay, and then you want to animate the additive track to this. So you can click on the skeleton tree and stop the playhead, and we'll go to the shoulder and arm. So I'm going to do it with my left arm. Okay, and obviously I'm going to do it really ropey, but obviously you can take time with it. So you add a key up here. Same goes for UE4, by the way. There's the key up there, and we just move that across. Add a key. And then we'll put it back. Okay, and then we're going to go to the upper arm, or actually lower arm. As I said, you take a lot more time than I am. One more frame. Okay, so the full thing looks like this. Okay. Made it a bit slow, but never mind. Okay, that'll do. Right, so you made that additive. So you go down to additive settings and you change that to mesh space. And you want to choose selected animation scaled. And you're going to choose the idle that you started off with here. Idle rifle. Save. Okay, and then if I go and add this to our animation blueprint. Let's say we do it here. Okay. Add my night vision additive tracking. Yeah, hold on. You have to plug in something. Hold on. Hang on. Add night vision. Oh wait, yeah, no, because they've changed it in this. It's in 5 to do additive mesh space. There you go. Yeah, on 4, I think there's just an input on here that you plug in. But anyway, base we'll put in there. Okay. And in the alpha here will be just us mixing them up. So we'll get a boolean here, I guess. Is additive, we'll call. And we'll just put that in there. We'll plug that into the alpha there and it'll convert it over. So when it's true, it'll be 1, false, 0. So what's going to happen, because it's additive, anything that's going on with the body, it'll continue doing that, and this will just add on that movement whatever it's currently doing, which can look a bit ropey depending on what you're doing, but I say this is a quick fix. So we just need to change this boolean really. So let's go to my character here and we're very simple. And we'll do 1 key and get anim instance passed to the what's it called, UE4. There you go. Copy that one because we need it also for released. This is, I say, this isn't the best method, but this is just to demonstrate what it does. Add group false. So if I go into here now, arm goes up down like that. Yeah, go down. So you can do things like that, but I say it is funky. But there you go. Okay. Is there another way to check continuously without an event tick? This is from KY2X. Yes, you can use a timer. So an event tick is based upon your frame rate. So the more frames you have per second, the more it'll tick. Whereas if you have a timer, it'll be based upon your system clock. So if you want to do it every second, you can do. Okay, but it depends on what you're trying to do, really. It depends. Yes. Inersterv, can Quixel assets be used in commercial games? I mean, can I sell the game with Quixel Bridge assets? Yes, of course. And for that point, anything that you find in the marketplace can also be used for commercial use as well. Right, it's there. Uma Uraz, guys, after the last update of UE5, my rope motion does not work. What should I do? Do you mean like the retargeting of your rope motion there? Is it Umat? Because if there is, you can tick. There's a if you look at last week's live stream, we did it then. I won't do it again, but we did it then. 3D artist indie. Hello teams, hello Ryan. Can I ask you about the future? I know that you are actually hired for a game project, but what about next? Did you refocus about tutorial on more advanced ones? Okay, what about my personal future? Okay. So yes, currently at the moment I'm hired by a couple of game studios to make some stuff for them. Some small things, some big things. I can't really talk about them, but yes, I'm hired by those. Plus many other things as well I've been hired to do work with. So you're going to see me a lot in... well, you can see me all over the place, really. So you can see me here and there and everywhere. But the channel's going to remain where it is, okay? That's not changing. That's one constant thing that it's in every contract, is that will always remain. Then we are going to be making, hopefully, more games. Well, we will be making more games. The next game we're going to be making is a horror game, and that'll be a paid for one. It won't be like one I give out for free and then show you how to make. But I'll happily show people how to make some things I made in it. But it won't be as in depth as a Fire Team will be. Because Fire Team is literally going to cover everything. So it won't be as detailed as that, but it will show a couple of things maybe. But that'll be something we're going to work on later this year. But that's still early design processes of me writing it down, what I want to do with it. Besides that, there's loads more live streams, loads more course content we're going to be doing. In the near future, the next stretch goal for Patreon is, if we get enough donations, I'll be hiring a 3D artist to work for the studio, Ryan Lady Games, to make 3D assets that we can give away for free. That way I'll give you 3D assets you can use for the tutorials, and you can then use them commercially if you want. But I want to be able to give you guys free stuff. So if we get enough donations, and it gives me enough that I can afford to pay someone to do it, I'm going to be hiring, hopefully later at some point this year, a 3D artist to come on board, and maybe in a part-time capacity, for example, to do some level design and characters, animations, things like that, and obviously props and things. Still waiting on the next part of Fire Team. Yes, I know. It's pretty much done. I just need to do one thing on it left to do. Last week I had a deadline for one of the game studios I was working with, so basically I had no time to work on anything else. But that's done. Well, we met that deadline. We're now got another deadline, but that's now out of the way. I can try and punch out the last bit there and push it out this week, hopefully. But yeah, but what we'll be doing when that patch does go live, we'll be doing like a live stream, sort of get together and play date, and I'll play with everyone same time as well. Okay, AJ the Maker. Hey Ryan, quick question. I set up a text render for when the player gets hit, displays above the head like Fortnite. It only appears on the client. Not sure why. If you have any ideas, let me know. I'll have to see your code base to see that. It depends heavily on what you've done. Just make sure you run when you apply damage to something. Damage is all server based. So, for example, if I go to apply damage here, this little icon means it's server only. Okay, so the server's handling that damage only. So when they receive damage, okay, so you have like an event, damage event, like this. So this will only run on the server version. And then if you want to pop something above their head, you want to show that on the client view of that. So if you want to know who they're damaged by, you've got damage causer here. And instigated by would be the controller, so you can actually reference that controller directly and say like, hey, you can do this, or you can tell them to be run on the owning client of the damage being received, so whoever's receiving the damage can get to see the number going above. But yeah, it depends heavily on I have to see your code set up to really know for certain what you're doing. Be aware of what that is doing. KY2X, can you show me how to make a simple matchmaking system similar to Fire Team? Yeah, there's literally a node called find. That's all that Fire Team uses. the most basic thing. There are plugins and things like that you can get which will allow you access to the fuller matchmaking systems, but the purpose of Fireteam was to use it with no plugins. So with no plugins, no extra stuff, you can use Find Sessions now to do it. Okay. With Steam, at least, I don't know about other services, but with Steam, the array that it returns is ordered already based upon distance. So the one at the top is closest to you geographically, then the one at the bottom. Thank you, 3D artist. Lucas Machado. What would be a proper way of moving players to minigame maps with their own game modes and characters in a game like Mario Party? Okay, so when you're playing a game like that, all you're doing is setting literally up a new map and a mini game. And when you send them over all together by using not level streaming. Hang on, mine's going blank. I haven't slept much, by the way. Very tired. Mine's going blank. I remember what it's called. Seamless travel. Yeah, sorry, seamless travel. You can use seamless travel, and it brings over the controller that they are using. So there's overlap between the two maps. That way you can get the same settings that the player has, and then like what character they've chosen, for example. And you pass that over to the new map and game mode, and then you pass them back to the previous game mode. Just save where they were previously. That's it. So you're just saving all the time before and after each mini game. Do. Hang on. No. Hey Ryan, this is from the Friendly Neighborhood Supervillain. How would you get a player camera rotation to work properly when the player is standing on the ceiling or a 90-degree wall? Depends what you mean by properly. Like, for example, you could put a scar on the wall. It technically wouldn't be like that, but you can imagine like this would not be the case. But we just need to make sure he doesn't fall. Default flying. Okay, so yeah, so you can have issues with the yaw because the way the camera's been set up for these guys. Hold on. The best thing to do is probably to, rather than rotate them like this, is you have them rotated like normal, like this. But the mesh inside of them is rotated. Sort of like that. I don't know, it's an interesting problem to solve. But then that would react exactly the same way as it does in real life. Oh, hang on. Again, you have to turn off the rotation with yaw. Hold on. Class default. Turn off rotation with yaw. But yeah, there you go. But you get some weird things like this. But you may be finding the issue you may be finding is that you've got that still turned on, the this setting here. This one here over here, use control rotation yaw. That just means that you're going to use the yaw of the world to rotate the character. Obviously not doing that if they're upside down, or well, if they're upside down you technically are, but I would turn that off. Normally when you're doing a third person character you turn them off, and first person character you turn it on. M Zone. Hey Ryan, any idea of how to get an AI move to the player, then after a key press, for example, move to a certain location, blueprint, place in the level, and then be destroyed by the AI? Yeah? And then be destroyed the AI? Hold on. No idea how to get AI to move to the player. Then after a key press, move to a certain location, a blueprint, place in the level, and then be destroyed. Oh, hold on, you've reworded it. Any idea how to get an AI to do an AI move to the player first, then after it reaches the player, move to a certain location, and then be destroyed the AI. Eh? Hold on, let me, you know. Can you give me the context at Amazon? What you mean? Like, give me an example. Like, are you trying to do like an AI that you can command, and you tell it to come over to you, and then you tell it to go over somewhere else? Is that what you're trying to do? Primov, one. How can I achieve a third person lean right, lean left like PUBG? Thank you. Okay. So, let's put our character back in actually, the third person one. Oh, I can't show you exactly because I don't have the animations, but we can show you close enough. Yeah. So back on this guy. Okay. So what you need to do is the leaning part is mostly done by animation. The thing that is you're actually changing is the camera and making the camera move. So the camera is on this camera boom, this spring arm here. So what you can do is you can either timeline or animate the movement of this by changing the offset like this, or using the actual offset nodes over here on the right hand side. So all you're doing is changing. Oh, second, didn't like me putting that number in. Okay. You just change this value back and forward like this. Okay, so for example, if I go in here and say push, let's say we push 1. And when you do this, you have an animation attached to it, so it doesn't look weird. Hold on, it didn't let me set something like that. There we go. Okay, so when you push 1, let's say 1 does left and 2 does right. You want a vector on here to be the offset. Oh. Say this vector. Set that here to minus 100. And then we're going to set it on released back to 0. And we push 2. Oh, it'd be easier if I just do that. And then take this again. There. Rest. Least. Positive 100. That. Okay. So very simply, what that's going to do is just move it left and right. But to actually tie that to the variable, we're going to make it smoothly do it by using a tick. So it smoothly animates that going left and right. Do V interp 2. And we're going to get the spring arm. And we'll do socket offset. Set socket offset. Bloody hell. Put that in there. Like that. So the target is going to be this offset that we've got here. Delta time, it's going to be delta seconds. Set speed. And the current is going to be camera booms get socket off. Get socket offset. So that should give us a nice smoother movement. And so all you need to do is actually have an animation attached to this, because at the moment it won't do animations. So go up here and like whoop, whoop. Yeah. It's very simple. It's just you need an animation to sell it properly to the player. Oh, it's still got it on flying mode still. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Okay, and then you could have like him animate his gun over like this. I mean, we could do an additive on that and make it our own animation to do that, but yeah. M zone, yeah. So basically, the AI moves to the player, kills the player, then player shoots it, or the player then shoots it with a spell. It becomes platted, runs to a given location on the map, and disappears. If you want, you can when you shoot it, you can just make it switch over to a different behavior tree. That'd be the easiest thing to do. If you're doing any sort of spell where you're like taking over control of an AI, or changing anything about their behavior, like you're seduced them to your side, change their behavior tree. You just get the AI controller and do one behavior tree from wherever you want to do it. Yeah, and just do one behavior tree. So you give it a spell, like you're going to say to take control of it, for example, or command it to go places and make it platted, whatever. You can make it have a platted behavior tree if you want. Yeah, and it'll just run that one instead. That's the easiest way to do that. We just need two separate behavior trees, one aggressive, one placid. Igor Bagayev. Hello. Is it worth using blueprint structure for character characteristics? Yeah, I mean, yeah, not a problem. Can do. The main thing you use structures for is if you're going to be transporting these variables across something else on the regular. So like a save point, for example. Quite useful. You can set it all in one thing. Then the more annoying thing with structures is that it's not difficult, it's just more cumbersome to change values inside of one. Yeah. But yeah, that'd be the way to do it. 3D artist is suggesting a data table. You can do that, but only if it's a read only, because you can't change values inside of a data table. So if you're changing data values, you can't use a data table. Okay. Reverse Gothenburg Press. Hi, thoughts on the Lyra character controller and anim setup? Have you started deconstructing it and making related content? Wiki says to use the Matrix controller because it has more transitional states. I haven't done much with it. I've literally pushed play on it a couple of times and that's it. I haven't looked too deeply into it. It's okay. The problem with the Lyra thing is it's not a great learning tool like what Fireteam will be, because it's not all blueprint based. You do have to do some stuff for Lyra. So got custom character stuff in there. But I haven't looked too deeply so far. As I said a bit earlier, I've been doing a deadline for the past week or so. So I haven't had much time to do stuff beyond that. So yeah, we'll do eventually at some point do a proper deconstruction. Maybe do it like a live stream of it, deconstructing what we're seeing lower and see what we can learn from it. Yeah. So I saw someone asking, I can't remember who it was, about logs. When you get crashes and logs and things like that, you don't know where they are. Find something that isn't NDA'd. Hold on. Okay, so for example, you're in this folder here, the install. Okay, and if you're doing a Steam app, it'll be in the Steam apps folder, but you have this essentially at the end. I don't know if it's actually having it because we don't. No. So you go into the saved folder when it's been run and you get a crash. You go to the saved folder, and in there will be a crash folder, and in there you'll get like the logs, and the logs look pretty much the same as the output window. You know what I mean? The output window. Looks the same. It looks the same as that. So yeah, you'll get that in like a print, like a text file. If it's server-based crashes, then you have to look at obviously the server logs, and that varies server to server. How to get the AI to move to a certain location on a behavior tree? Yes. Call it aggressive, and we'll do placid. On aggressive, he's going to do a very simple selector into sequence, and make him move to our player character. So let's get a new task in here. Player. AI. Variable. We'll just do it actually here. Actually, it doesn't need a variable actually. So here we'll do AI move to. The pawn is going to be controlled pawn. The target actor is going to be get player character. And on success, we can do finished execute. As a success there. And if it fails, we'll do it as a fail. So let's move to player. So on aggressive, we'll just do move to player. And tell our character here to use that one. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to skip a few steps and do on begin play. We're going to get the AI controller. Roll that to itself. And we'll do run behavior 3. And we'll do aggressive. There. And let's put a nav mesh in here so you can doing nav mesh bounce volume. And I don't want to be controlling this one, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay. Right, so off he goes. He's now going to just chase me around the map. Okay. So that's the aggressive one. But let's say I shoot him with a ball. Okay. So here we're going to do any damage. Give it somewhere. No. Okay. And I'll change the behavior tree to a placid one. So I'm basically take the same thing here, just copy this. And put this down on any damage. So And where I want him to move to, it depends entirely what your game design is, what you're trying to make him run away to. If you're into a very particular spot in the world, you need to somehow get a reference to that location. If you want it to be an EQS, you can do an EQS and find a location that way. So, for example, we'll do a simple EQS. Very simple EQS. Simple EQS. And this one will be simply just run away from your location. So I'm going to do grid. And then we'll check 100 to 1,000. I'm going to add distance. And we're going to score. Score only. And we're going to give higher score to one that's furthest away. Okay, so it's going to pick that one. So we're going to do selector, sequence, EQS. Okay, and we're going to run the EQS. And we want to output this to a blackboard key. So I need to make a blackboard to put this onto. Sure, I'm not going to change too much about it. Object. Be a vector. Object. Okay, and then on my Placid here, I'm going to tell my EQS here to use. Not been set up to use. Okay. Yeah, so back on here, I can change it to use target location, and then we'll move to target location. So it'll run away. It'll basically run away to any location. Any damage, I'm going to change that to Placid. Okay, and so if I go, yeah. Oh, it didn't hit him. Hold on. Collision. Pawn block. There you go. The balls are spawning on the other side of him, but there you go. I hit him. Now he'll run away to the furthest spot, and he'll keep running away to the furthest spot away from him. So he'll ping pong basically. And essentially that's what you do. But so the location you want to go to could be EQS, could be a specific location you've got in the map. So you can just go get actors or class and find the one you want to find. Could be something that they're tied to, like their home or base. In that case, you need to get a reference to it. Got a few things you can do. Thank you, Subdude. Thank you. How would you recommend for your Roxas Hornet? How would you recommend doing something like Bloodborne, where if you hit an enemy quickly after taking damage, you get a portion of the health you just lost back? So when you receive that, when you take damage, I would do it the way like this. So if I take damage, I have this last damage taken as a variable. Okay, so I take that as, or basically add it to whatever, like a buffer of how much damage I've taken in the past, whatever. So for example, we'll do variable here. Float. Add that to there. To that. Okay, so we've added those two damages together, so it'll build up over time. Now, every time we take damage here, we'll put a retriggable delay in. And what that means is that this will be the time frame. So if you take damage here, say like in 5 seconds, no, let's do it's 2 seconds, okay? I need to set that back to damage. So after 2 seconds, retriggable means every time it gets called, it will just restart the counter. So when that has been completed successfully, it means we haven't taken damage for 2 seconds. In which case, I'm going to take damage here, set it back to 0. Then, if I want to regain health back, I'll have an event in there, say like regain health, or like you parried, or whatever it may be. And if you want like say 10% of it, you just times this by 0.1. And return that back to the health of the player. Health. Like that. Okay. And so if damage is 0, 0 times 0.1 is 0. Health at 0, nothing's going to happen. Whereas on here, it will. We do it before 2 seconds. Yeah, so you do health, take away stuff on here too. Health. Subtract. There. And hey presto, you've got a system just like Bloodborne. Webbed. Okay. So take damage, it will restore how much damage you have. And if you don't get hit again within 2 seconds, it will restore that damage back to 0. But if you, within another 2 seconds, will regain health, you'll take the damage amount you've taken, times by 0.1 to get 10%, and then add that back onto the health. That's how I would do it. Tyler Young. Hey Ryan, how and why did you get started with coding and games development? Interesting question. So I originally wanted to be an architect, designing buildings. And I first got into interested in doing games development as a career, because I entered a competition to design a Resident Evil game. So I spent the whole summer, not summer, like an Easter break or whatever it was, sitting at home drawing up maps and designs and making a whole design document. I submitted it in. I didn't win, but it kind of inspired me to want to do more. So that's when I went to university and done it at university, which back then not many university courses existed that did it. So it was quite rare. And yeah, ever since then, really, I've always loved playing video games and I love designing stuff and being quite creative in that sense. So it was like a perfect opportunity to do that. Coding wise is something I picked up at university. I didn't do it before then. Doing all different. Actually, I did it, but in college, I did Pascal. If you remember Pascal, Jesus. Did Pascal and then done like HTML and all that stuff. And then went into games programming, and we made like Shockwave games. I don't know if anyone remembers Shockwave games, basically like Flash games. We made that, and then when I got out of there, it was like the height of like 2017. So it's like 2007, sorry, when the financial market crashed. So it was like hell, nothing was hiring. So I got started teaching instead, and I got stuck into teaching games development and so on and so forth, and became manager and started doing YouTube, and yeah. But the main thing is, like with coding, was that I liked coding. I liked problem solving. I've always liked maths. So I've always liked puzzle solving and stuff like that. Like I love an escape room. I love all that sort of things. I love puzzle books. Like I subscribe to a puzzle page on my phone because I like playing puzzles. So I always see programming problems as like puzzles. So that's where I find the enjoyment in them. But, yeah. Anyway, we'll have to end it there for tonight, unfortunately, as I've got to go off and do a private one-to-one tutorial with someone. But I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported me over on Patreon and YouTube members. Thank you so much. But do check out the new website and its new features if you're a Patreon member. And if you're not a Patreon member, consider signing up for just $1 and you get access to all of that as well. We will be developing over time. Make sure you follow me on social media so you can get access to all the information about new fire team patches and content and tests that are going on there. We'll be doing a developer play date with that eventually, very soon. But yeah, anything else? I think that's it. Well, have a great evening, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. And bye bye.